TikTok, it's time to rock. Welcome to the channel, folks. Welcome to a Mission from God show.
Yes. Literally.
Literally. Yes, we was it which one's God? Yes, which I'm dog anyway, so
if you're familiar with what we're talking about, obviously Eric Clapton was also known as God, so it's an Eric Clapton show. So obviously that's part of the connection. But one of the channel missions, folks, we want to remind people is that we're here to rank every single Eric Clapton album. And we're getting there, boys. We're getting there. We're winding up the 70s with this album. So I look forward to spending some time with you guys talking about this album. But before we do that, we were sharing some information and some oohs and ahs, Brad, in the green room, licking our lips, savoring the finances and the fortunes of people selling guitars, Brad.
Yeah, well, look, I was drooling over the Fool, to be honest with you, the SG, Clapton's SG. I was hoping, I could scrounge up enough coin for that, but I fell short, Andrew. I fell short. I was a little bit short.
A mere $3 million and $3,000. Might have got the 3,000, but not the 3 million in front of it.
Well, I think the Fool went for 6 mil, Simon. So.
Yes.
I looked. I've got the full SG sold for $3 million and $3,000. Clapton's Martin sold for $4 million.
Are you sure?
Well, I'm pretty sure I'm on Guitar World website with the results of the auction.
Yeah, I reckon that's the US, the euro. That must be in the. So yeah, we're going from an American dollar, I think. Looking at
okay.
Well, for Australian dollars, yeah. Twice that.
It's in millions anyway. A lot of mince pies, Brad.
I fell short just by a few mil.
It's okay. Your mate from Pink Floyd made up for it, didn't he?
Oh yeah. Look, I'm pretty sure Dave Gilmour's probably kicking himself for letting that one go.
Wow.
He did, but
well, not really, but
again, what were you saying, Andrew, about Clapton when he auctioned them off? What did you want to? I don't want to steal your thunder. You said you were going to say something about that.
Well, Clapton, when he sold his ES335, he got 840,000 for that, and I remember a lot of people, Simon, going, "Wow," for a 64 Gibson, But to Eric Clapton's credit, guys, with his auction, that famous auction that he had, our boss, because he is the boss and he is God here on this channel. He put all those proceeds, Simon, to his charity, didn't he? He didn't pocket a cent, did he?
No. Put it to his drug rehabilitation charity. Hats off to him for that.
Yeah.
Well, it's. Right. I can't remember what. I can't remember. See, I mean, David Gilmour's Strat. What did it? I mean, it sold for $14.5 million this time. Was it $1 million it sold for? Was it last time?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember my feeling it was that 1.5 or something or whatever. But yeah, somebody made some money out of it. Jim Mercy's his estate made $93 million out of that sale.
Like I said in the green room, fellas, that's a lot of custom shop Stratocasters.
so many. You can't think about it, can you? How many it is? But
I think what I might do in a couple of days' time, when all those figures come through, I might go live midweek and just do a bit of a show here on the channel, going through and just finally having a record here on the channel of what they sold for.
Yeah. Good idea.
Not all the guitars, folks. Not all the guitars. The ones that clearly have a special attachment to what we talk about here on this channel. But that family, Brad and Simon, what they made 30 mil?
Yeah, profit, something like 30 mil. Yeah.
$97 million they made.
How many?
Not 97.
Wow.
Shit.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Guitars, of musical
like
stuff. Guitars and wow. Yeah.
So my answer then to you guys is, obviously we don't know who bought. Let's just talk about two guitars, the Black Strat and the Full, which clearly have a connection. So it'll be very interesting to see who forked out the money for those guitars. I'd be very interested. Will we see them on stage being played again?
I think they've become exhibits now, haven't they? Art exhibits kind of thing. Although it has to be said that the guy who bought the Jerry Garcia guitar, he bought it. His thing is that they should be taken out and played. I mean, you never quite can. I don't know whether Derek Trucks was actually playing it, the night after or whatever, but there was film of Derek Trucks playing it.
Yeah,
I don't know if it was real or not. I didn't bother to find out, but hopefully that was his stick. Was the guitars I've got in my collection get taken out and played. They're not just case queens. What
do you reckon, Brad?
Look, I reckon they should be played. I mean, that's their purpose. That's what the history of the guitar. I mean, they are, part of rock and roll history, really. But I mean, they should be played, in my opinion. If I could afford to spend 14 mil on a Black Strat or 6 mil or whatever it was on the Full, you'd go out and play it. Even if you couldn't play it, it might get you some recognition.
just one more thing on this subject before we turn it over to the proper show. But we've spoken a couple of times about Greeny's Les Paul and how Kurt purchased it, and Kurt's on record many times saying that he did not pay $2 million for it, Simon. He nowhere near did he pay and he refuses to tell people how much he paid. And serious people who have interviewed him have asked him. Rick Beato asked him, and he refused to tell Rick. But he did say to Rick, it was nowhere near $2 million. So my question to you guys then, if Kurt decided to sell that guitar tomorrow, he'd easily sell it for $2 million, wouldn't he, Brad?
Oh, of course it would.
And the rest.
Yeah, it would go at least. You'd get, I mean, if the Black Strat, Gilmore's Black Strat got, 14 mil or whatever eventually work out exactly what it was, it would get close to at least 5, 6, maybe more, I reckon.
What do you reckon, Simon?
Oh, completely. It's so. I mean, it's difficult to know whether this say was something of an anomaly. I mean, because none of this stuff has been anywhere near the figures that we've been quoting.
No.
Nowhere near it. And see, Johnny Heartbreaker says Gilmore's Black Strat was sold for $4 million in 2019, and sells it for 14. And so I don't quite understand whether this is an anomaly, an outlier, or whether it's, what these things are like. It's, they can whip up.
What?
Hats off to the auction house for doing it, but whip up something and, and everyone gets a bit carried away and then spend a lot of money, and actually, that's a bit of an outlier. It's a bit of a peak and things. It's not actually so much like that.
No, you're miles off the mark, Simon. You're miles off the mark.
Thank you so much.
I'll tell you what I think the real issue is here with this stuff. This era of rock and roll, Simon, is dying. These guys, David Gilmour is in his 80s.
80, he's 80, yeah.
You know, the end of the era, Brad, of rock and roll. It's just around the corner, and we're going to see it. We're going to celebrate its demise here on the channel soon. It's just around the corner, and it's just giving you an indication of just how important this type of music over the last 40 years has been to a lot of people, and what it's going to be and what it's going to mean for people in the future, Brad and Simon. Brad, quickly, some quick thoughts on that. You got some thoughts on that before we kick the show off?
Yeah, I think you could be on the right track there, really, Andrew. I mean, it's sad to think that you're correct, but it is that. To me, it's looking that way. I mean, these guys are iconic musicians and created generations of, people who want to be playing music like them and want to be inspired, what they were inspired by them. I was just having this discussion with my partner Jackie today that live music seems to be dying. I mean, we've lost Byron Bay Blues Festival has been cancelled after 37 years of it running here. I don't know the ins and outs of that. I've got to investigate. I only just saw it today that it was cancelled, and I was like, how can that be cancelled? But it's a sign of, maybe people aren't able to afford to go and buy tickets, or I don't know. I don't know what it is, Andrew. Maybe there's not as much interest in it now, and there's the new musicians that are coming up. There's not a lot of, inspiration there from new musicians. They're still going back to these, these acts like Cream, Pink Floyd, Clapton, Led Zeppelin, Jimi Hendrix, and later Hendrix, Van Halen, and things like that. But I mean, past that 80s, 90s period, there's not a lot that people draw as inspiration, and as much as I'm saying there still is inspirational figures, but this is definitely something that's an art that's going to be dying at some point once these, I call them grandfathers of that era, are passed on.
Simon?
I hope not, Andrew, but I mean, that's just how it seems. I mean, to cancel a Byron Bay Blues Festival that's been running successfully for 37 years, that's not a good sign.
No, well, it's. I think that it's. I mean, the first thing that occurs to me, Brad, is that in the UK we've still, Glastonbury is as huge as it ever was, bigger than it ever was, and kind of, it's gradually moving with the times. But I see there's no abating the enthusiasm for people going to it, because it's such an event. There's so much going on. People like Harry Styles have sold out, multiple nights at Wembley Stadium this summer, coming up and things. He's a comparatively young. I think
slightly different caliber of musician. I'm just not knocking them, but I think that
more than slightly, Brad. You've been very polite there.
I think it's very hard to compare Harry Styles to Eric Clapton or Dave Gilmour or
no comparison.
It's very sad to think that these artists are getting to that age where we will be looking at them now as past tense at some point.
And anything associated with that music moving forward is going to bring in a lot of cash, a lot of coins. So, if you've got any memorabilia there that's been signed by these guys, those album covers that you've got, Brad, those guitar picks or whatever, jeepers. You could be sitting on a fortune in a few years' time.
Yeah, but they're not worth anything to anyone really except me. I mean, that's the thing I see it. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but having an autograph of Eddie Van Halen says to Brad, whatever, from Eddie or from Slash or someone like that, it's not really worth anything to anyone, is it? You know what I mean?
Mate, I watch YouTube clips of that Porn Stars and Antiques Roadshow, and you'd be surprised, bro. You'd be surprised what people will pay for stuff. Yeah. Anyway,
we've got a mission from God. We're on a mission from God, guys.
And this will be obviously a topic for a show, so we'll do that. But yeah, once those figures come through, we'll do something. We'll have something here on the channel as a reference and a record of what these guitars went for. But in the meantime, we're going to rank a live album that came out in 1980. It was actually recorded, I think, in 79, according to the information I've got. But before we do that, Simon, you want to do a shout out to the fine folks that are joining us?
Yes, absolutely. Good morning, Johnny Heartbreaker. Hope you're well. Arvin Gaunt. Morning, Arvin. Ellen. Tom. Morning, Ellen. Hope you're well. Gretch Zeppelin. Morning, Gretch. And Jazz Thunder 50. Jim is up early. No, I didn't buy anything at the auction, Jim. The retirement fund wouldn't stretch that far.
Hey, Jim.
So good morning. Anybody else at the top here? Crasher Extreme. So good morning to him, her. Owlman 1365.
That's Christopher Live Sour.
Oh, is it? Oh, Crasher Extreme.
No, the Owlman.
Owlman. Oh, morning, Chris. And Crasher Extreme as well. So morning to you. Fantastic. So I hope everyone's good. Had good weeks. And
awesome.
Yes. On with the show. Now, on with the show.
On with the show. I was thinking a couple of things, guys, in preparation for the show. We haven't done a lot of live albums. We've done a few. We've done a couple of Clapton's live albums. We've done EC Was Here, and we'll talk about that in reference to a couple of songs as we go through and rank the tracks. But what's really interesting, Brad, before I kick this off, is that Clapton begins the 1980s with Just One Night, and he ends the 1980s, Brad, with what?
24 Nights.
You got it.
So he's gone up by 24 times.
Yeah, well, guitars go up in value, so does Eric Clapton, so why not?
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know whether he planned that, Simon, but it worked out pretty well. The 80s ends with one night and finishes with 24.
He's doing well.
Yeah. Well done, Eric. But yeah, this album came out in 1980. I remember when it came out, recorded in 79 in Japan. And if you go and read a few comments that Clapton has written about his experiences with playing live in Japan over the years, he has a lot of respect for the Japanese people, and in particular a Japanese promoter. I'm not going to attempt to pronounce his name, but he talks about him and he makes reference to him in one of the DVDs, one car, one night, one planes, something like that. Anyway, one of those DVDs, I'll get the title when one of my co-colleagues are talking and put that in, but he makes reference to that guy and why he goes back to Japan, because he supported Eric, during that mid-1970s period, Simon, when he was struggling, when he was doing some tough things, and, he promoted Eric and he gave him that help and that support, that from a paternal perspective, that you guys, that guys probably, and girls, I can't speak for girls, but guys in particular kind of like, and when you look back on and reflect on, you realize how important that is. So I like that. And so, Japan's had an important part in Clapton's career. And in particular, this album is a pretty good legacy for Clapton, in my opinion, because it sounds so great. The way that it's recorded. The Japanese had good technology, Simon, back, for a long time, but certainly in the 70s with mics and everything, their ability to do that well is emphasized for me on this album. Clapton was touring pretty consistently in that late 1970s period, Brad, you know, for a long time, and this band sounded good. And again, it's reflected on this album. Just one point before I pass it over to you guys. In my research for this album, I didn't realize that a lot of people, experts, Clapton experts, didn't like this band, didn't like this English band, because this is, you know, the first band. And we can talk about the guys who play in the band from my perspective anyway later on when we talk about the tracks. But this is the first time in a long time Clapton had an English band. Before that, Simon, it was all Americans. And I never realized that there was this contradiction amongst the experts, or a dichotomy. I didn't realize that. So, and I thought I knew a lot about Clapton, Brad, you know, but when I listened to this album again, I think this is something that journalists may have made a point of, that had no reflection, certainly for me, in the music, because you can't pick holes on any of these songs, in my opinion. But I'll be keen to hear what you guys have to say individually about the tracks. But did pretty well, Simon, on the charts.
Yeah.
You know, it did pretty well. You've got your copy there. I remember seeing this in record stores when I was a young guy, being promoted. There it is there. I'll just put the Rock Professor on solo.
And there we go.
Here it is there. Here's the album.
Oops. There we go.
Yeah.
The back. Yeah. There you go.
Fantastic. So yeah, we can obviously talk about the tracks. I'm not going to talk about how I came across this album at the moment. I'm going to flick it over to you, Brad, ask you to add anything to my quick little brief intro, and then we'll get the Rock Professor to talk about when he first lined up and paid a couple of pounds for the album.
$3.75. I'll let you know.
I think I discovered the album, like, in retrospect, like going backwards. In Clapton's, you know, obviously around that 24 Nights I've discussed in the past was a big deep dive. I mean, I was a Cream of Clapton fan. I had the Cream of Clapton album and all that stuff. But then 24 Nights took me on a search backwards, and I went through all these solo albums, and this is just one of the ones on the discovery on the way through. I listened to it quite a bit at the time, and you know, listening to the album now in comparison to back at the time when I first heard it, there were a few skips on this originally when I was a younger guy, because I wanted to hear, you know, I was more into the 24 Nights, especially the 4-piece sound, the big rocky sort of Clapton vibe. But I appreciate it more now. But I will admit, it's been a while since I've actually listened to these guys, probably, before pandemic at least. So it's been a while. And refreshing to listen to this week. I found myself doubling sections back, going, who's that? Is that Albert Lee? Is that Clapton? I was really focused on that. Previously I never really was. So that was good to deep dive back into this, Andrew, and a good choice to sort of wrap up our mission from God.
No problem. Thank you for that. What about you, Simon? Tell us about how you lined up for that album.
I didn't line up. It came into the shop. I was working in the record shop at the time, Tony's Records, and it came in, and we really liked it. And in fact, we went to the supporting tour. So he played the Bristol Hippodrome on May the 13th, 1980, and Tony and I went, and they were supported by Chaz and Dave. I presume you all know who Chaz and Dave is. And we had Chaz and Dave in the shop for a sort of signing and a sort of afternoon of beer and stuff. So it was really good. Yeah, they were great, and so they came up. So we had this in the afternoon, and then they played in the evening supporting Clapton. So this is kind of where I came in with Clapton. Really, I think it's the first album I got it at the time. As you can see, I had it ever since. It's definitely one of my favourites. Although, interestingly, by the time I saw the band, they also had Gary Brooker from Procol Harum on keys, whereas this album doesn't have it. It has Albert Lee doubling on organ quite a lot and an electric guitar. So he'd added Gary Brooker, I think, to. So I kind of looked up. I couldn't remember why that was. But clearly, Clapton decided that they were close friends, and he decided that he wanted 2 keyboard players, or an organ player and a piano player, as well as 2 guitars, which is pretty much what he tours with now, doesn't he? I don't know. Did he have an organ player besides Chris Stainton?
Well, yeah, on and off. He has an organ player, but Chris is there.
Certainly, Gary Brooker played with him on and off for a long time. So, I have somewhere, I don't know where it is, but I've got a cassette of it somewhere. Tony recorded it. Interestingly, there's a lot of similarity as you'd expect in the set lists. So we can think about it. But yeah, it was a really good gig. Eric seemed to be on good form. Didn't seem to be his demons hadn't taken over him at this point so much. So I think I didn't notice he particularly struggling with that. So yeah, it was a great gig. Really enjoyed it. And the Hippodrome is a cool place. It's like a 2,000-seater, indoor theatre basically that Eric was playing then. So he got a chance to be up close and personal with how it went. So yeah, this album is where I came in. I always really liked it as an album. I thought it held together really well. I liked Eric's playing on it and stuff, and I've had it ever since. And I think that it was my first Eric album that I bought. I don't think I had one before that. I might have done, but
awesome.
Yeah.
So I never bought this album until the early 1990s when I first listened to it consistently and properly. I've seen it around over the years at different locations, different places and parties that I went to. Listened to a few of the tracks over the years. Some of the versions of the tracks on this have been on other albums as well. And knowing certainly the studio versions, Brad, on some of these songs. So, it was never really a point of interest for me when I was listening to Clapton in the late 80s. I was interested in the Clapton of the 80s, August, Behind the Sun, Journeyman and 24 Nights, and then Cream. I wasn't interested in any of those early 70s albums because many times I've said to you guys here on the shows, I heard versions or tracks on some of those albums and think, shit, this is crap, and just ditch it, and, move on. And I think I probably made that decision with this album early on too, but it wasn't until, must have been about 92, 93, certainly before The Cradle came out, where I listened to this and was pleasantly blown away. So is it a live album that I listen to consistently compared to a couple of other live albums that Clapton has done over the years? No. But is this album a statement? Yes, it is. Has it got some great tracks? Obviously, in my opinion, yes, it has. But I won't reveal too much about that until we actually rank the tracks proper. So should we kick it off, boys?
I reckon. Let's do it.
All right.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, so the first track, obviously, for a lot of us who are familiar with this album's Tulsa Time, a great radio hit. This was the radio hit that I heard on the radio here, Simon and Brad, for years. And then listening to this track in particular, you really appreciate the genius that is Chris Stanton, don't you, playing the keys on this. And I couldn't find at halftime when we show some pics, it's very hard to find some photos of Chris around this era, but the ones that I have seen, he hasn't changed much. He's just got a little bit older, but he's still got the same long hair and just a genius, and you really appreciate actually how good he is. When he gets an opportunity to open up, Brad, songs like this, it's just incredible.
Yeah,
incredible live version. And I think this is going to be a theme for me on a lot of the tracks. Probably, in my opinion, better than the studio version. I just think that this just has so much more to offer. And Clapton playing slide on this track is just incredible. And sometimes we forget how great he is as a slide player amongst everything else he can do with the guitar, Simon. So I love this track. I always have. It's a radio song, and we don't give a darn about that. It's a 10 out of 10. It's never a skip, Brad.
Yeah, look, it's Tulsa Time. I mean, I've heard this a fair few times now, and I love the feel of it, the groove. It's got that slight backbeat behind the beat thing slightly. The bass line, very cool. I put here Clapton plays very tight rhythm. The stabs, some wonderful slide playing. I've also put here whether it's Clapton influenced Harrison or Harrison influenced Clapton, the vibrato when he plays slide, it's very similar to Harrison's vibrato on the slide. So I thought that was something to make note of. And I really like the interplay. The guitars are very tight. They're plunky. They got that plunky, clean Strat tone that I really like. So it's in that one that's in that 2 position or 4 position. I'm not sure. Sounds like the 2 position on the Strat to me. The middle and bridge together. It's got that sound for me on the Strat, and obviously it could be all middle. I don't know, but it's got that plunky, cleaner Strat tone that we love. And I love Albert Lee's sort of rhythm on this one as well. It's got a cool flavor to the blues infusion there, because Albert Lee's more of a country sort of player, country blues sort of style, and they interplay and play well together rhythmically. It sounds great. I gave it 9.5 out of 10, Andrew, and never a skip. Simon,
fantastic.
Yeah, it's. I think it's a really good opener. I think, as you say, Chris Stainton is definitely the, definitely the sort of unsung hero of this with his intro and things before he gets into it. Reminds me very much of having a sort of JJ Cale vibe to it.
Yeah,
it's got a similar kind of JJ. I don't know what he has a thing, doesn't he, or a groove and a sort of swing all of his own. And I kind of feel like this. Clearly not written by him, but that is in that. Doesn't JJ Cale come from Tulsa? I think he does. But I kind of got that sort of link to Jet in there, and I can see that Clapton would have really liked this song because he's into JJ Cale and was doing After Midnight and Cocaine and things. So it's for me a great opener. The great great story to it as well about the guy who wrote it, Danny Flowers, just had these 2 chords and just wrote it watching the Rockford Files, and but Don Williams heard it and liked it the way it was, and then 2 months later, Flowers performing with Williams in Nashville at the opening act for Eric Clapton, and after the performance, Flowers and Williams went back to Clapton's room, where the 3 men took turns playing songs. Flowers played and sang Tulsa Time, and Williams sang the harmony. Clapton played the slide guitar on a dobro. Clapton said, "I love that song and I want to record it right away." Williams said, "You can't record it. I'm going to record it." So eventually they both recorded it, but Don Williams was first. But so nice little story there of somebody just knocking up a tune in half an hour whilst being bored in front of the telly. But to opening one of Eric's live albums, as you say, Brad, really nice guitar, slide guitar. Eric's fantastic slide player. probably doesn't play enough of it, to be honest, does he? I think, as I said, great JJ Cale type groove for me. Bass and drums, kind of rock steady, rock solid rhythm section, and we can get more into that as we go through. But yeah, great sort of bouncy, energetic opener. 10 out of 10 from me, and never a skip. Andrew.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Jazz, and thanks, Alan, for your ranking. And Real Jackson, you're right. Our heroes are in the late 70s or early 80s now. Absolutely. Yes, they are. So that's why we're here to celebrate them. Second track is Early in the Morning. And again, the intro on this track's incredible. Eric on slide. This is where, when I was doing a bit of research, people were being a little bit critical back in the time of the English band, saying that it just doesn't have the groove that the American bands had. And this track in particular is pointed out, especially by Mark Roberty, as an example of that. And I'm going, wow, really? Henry Spinetti on drums and Dave Markey on bass. They've been musicians that have jammed and played with Eric on and off for a long, long time, Brad, So I went back and I listened again to this, track in particular and album and the tracks after reading these quotes, thinking, what am I missing? So I suppose I just put it down to interpretation, obviously, and everyone is allowed a musical interpretation and opinion, aren't they, Simon? But clearly Mark Roberty, clearly Mark Roberty is wrong here, because this band, in my opinion, provides an incredible rhythm section to a great track. And I've given this a 9 out of 10, Brad. Never a skip.
Yeah, Andrew. Early in the Morning, it's got that classic blues, slower blues sort of feel to it. I think Clapton relies heavily, on that expressive sort of slide playing in this one I've put. His timing with the slide is quite unique, and he starts slightly late with some of his licks, I noticed, but it's intentional. It's just Clapton's feel. It's not like he's waiting for it to happen. It's just where Clapton thinks it needs to happen, which is what makes Clapton so unique, I guess. He has a conversational sort of feel, lyrical feel to his slide playing, which I love. The organ, the drumming, the bass. I mean, it's without repeating everything you said, Andrew, it's a damn good second track. And I actually have to agree with you. I couldn't understand, what you were saying about the reviews and people, what they were saying about it with the English band and stuff like that. I think it sounds great. I gave it a 9 out of 10, guys. Never skip. Simon.
Awesome. Hey, KXM Rock. Been a long time. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, morning, KXM Rock. Cool to see you. Yeah, interesting. This is over 7 minutes, so Eric gets they get a chance to stretch out into a slow blues kind of thing. There's a kind of long intro with the slide and the organ, and I think it's with Albert Lee playing the organ, so that kind of pretty relaxed. Eric in pretty relaxed playing mood, and I think it helps get them in the groove. This track, I agree, Andrew. Although it is significant, isn't it, that he fired this band not long after this and went back to getting set of musicians and stuff, and embarked on his sort of 80s thing. So I think that was because more of their inability in the studio rather than their inability live. But because clearly this sort of live setup, he has now, doesn't he? With his current, both Chris Stainton and Doyle Bramwell, similar sort of setup to this, and clearly that's been a staple of his live show for a long time. But so I can see. It's interesting, isn't it, that I think the rhythm section is fine, but they don't quite Henry Spencer, he doesn't quite have the groove of Jamie Oldacre, I'd say. And it's one of the things I kind of noted to myself, that if I went back and listened to the EC was here, with that George Terry and Jamie Oldacre stuff, Jamie Oldacre's got a bit extra, I would say, on the evidence of these two things. So I kind of understand a bit where the critics are coming from. A bit. I don't think it makes any difference to the groove of the song, to be honest. I still think it's a great version. Eric goes through his call and response stuff, and the way that the slide solo intertwines with the organ is really nice as well. That's really cool. And as I say, it gives Eric a chance to really stretch out and play some, get into the groove of playing. I gave it a 9 out of 10 and never skip. I think it's fine. A great version of it. Andrew.
Awesome. Hey, Tony, thanks for joining us. Yeah, you're right, Tony. It's a great track off Backless. Another great album that I misread for a long time. And we've ranked that album and a couple of other songs that we're going to talk about off other albums too. And I'll point that out for you if you haven't already been aware of the fact that we may have already done that. Lay Down Sally Brad, another radio song like Tulsa Time. When you were growing up listening to the radio, your parents' radio, this was a song, that was always there. And you said it, Brad, when you listened to Tulsa Time. I'm going to steal it. You've heard the song many, many times over the years, and I love this version of it, and clearly you can hear that the crowd are getting into a lot of these tracks, and they warm up and get into it a little bit later on too. But you can understand why they would be excited for this track, because it's a great track, Simon. It's worthy of its status as a popular song, and we like to point that out. That Clapton has that ability to produce that kind of music. This is a good example of it. Again, I think this is on par with the studio version. I can't find any faults with this. I think it's great. They deliver it well and tight as a band. The solo was great. I can't find anything to be critical about this track. I just think it's fantastic. It's up there with the studio version. I'm giving this 9 out of 10, Brad. Never a skip.
Yeah. Lay Down Sally, I agree with you, Andrew. It's a great song. It's very catchy, and I actually think Eric's vocals on this are outstanding. I love his gruff vocal and the way he performs this every time, actually. But this is a great version of it, and I do like it. Equally as good as the recorded version. I think this is a really cool sort of example of that plunky strat tone I've been talking about previously on this album. That clear, it's got a plunkiness to it, a bit quacky, almost like a quackiness to it, and it's very clear, very clean. You can hear the two guitarists sort of interplaying, but playing very similar things here. It's very tight. They're very tight together, these guys. The band is extremely tight as well, and you can tell they're very musical the way they're playing. I put here, I think Clapton's main focus on this song is getting that groove with the rhythm guitar, and there's some great lead guitar work as well. And also, I just want to highlight the BVs in it. I've always thought it's very cool. The Lay Down Sally, the way he sings it, and it's got the female vocal and all that. I just, whether whoever's singing it, trying to sing it like a female. Is it a female that comes out on stage, guys, or is it?
No, it's Albert.
Is it?
Albert.
And they're trying to sing like a female. Yeah. I've always think it's pretty cool.
It's Albert Lee singing backing vocals.
So he sounds very female, like putting on that female voice, which is very cool. Because it needs that sort of female voice there, is what I'm saying. So I think it's a wonderful version, and I replayed this song a fair few times, more than the other tracks, just once I've done my rankings and that, just because I thought this is very cool and I put it on. So I gave it 10 out of 10, guys. Never skip. Simon.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh. Yeah, it's a great song in the style of JJ Cale again, isn't it? It's interesting how that JJ Cale style has pervaded into Eric's work at this stage, not only with Eric's cover versions, but songs that he wrote that were in that sort of group. I've played this a lot for a long time in my bands. And it's got, as you say, it's a groove song, isn't it? It's got ding ding da da da, and you get it right, and you got a real swing to it that
it's not easy to do, Simon.
Along. It's not. No, it's not easy to get the right speed so that you've got that thing. Back to standard guitar from Slide. So he's and as you said, Brad, those clean Strat tones that really, really, really present on this record all the way through. And so if you like those glassy Strat tones, they're here in abundance, aren't they? Again, nice solo, just kind of jamming along solo. Get in with the groove. That's the whole point of it. Some nice piano interjections as well. 9 out of 10 for me. Never skip. I think it's got a really good groove, and this band really do it justice.
Yeah,
Andrew.
Thanks, guys, and thank you for all the great comments. Alan gave Laid Down Sally a 10 out of 10 as well, guys. So fantastic, and appreciate you keeping your scores here with us as well, sharing your scores with us here as well. By now, you're sort of thinking 30, 40 years later, my gosh, this is a live album, but it's also a classic hits collection, Brad, because, we're ranking Wonderful tonight, and we've had the pleasure of doing a few versions of this song on Clapton's albums here on the channel. And, I've made the point that when I was a young guy, I wasn't really kind of interested, in this kind of Clapton, wasn't really interested. But when I got a little bit older and a little bit more mature, Simon, I had a few sort of ups and downs in your life, and then music has more of an influence on where you are. You appreciate, my gosh, how powerful this song is and how incredible it is. Love it. Then you find out that, who's the topic of this song, Simon?
Patty Boyd, yes.
Patty Boyd.
Woman who's had more songs written about than anyone else. Yes.
Well, George Harrison wrote a half a dozen for her too, didn't he, Brad?
That's my point, yeah. Layla.
Yeah, she was the muse for at least 2 guitarists that we know of,
So, and I love that, we always talk about how, the appreciation, the backstory of a song has an influence. And, I love that. The classic intro, isn't it? We know what that is. He does some incredible versions of this song live on a lot of other albums. 24 Nights, we were just talking about that in the intro, how he just takes it again to another level.
Yeah.
But this track here that we're listening to is pretty faithful to the studio version, Simon, and I like that. Yeah. So if you're getting your money in 1980 or 1979 for some music at a concert, you couldn't be critical of the interpretation that was given back to you. It's not you can't say that you're hearing a lot of tracks faithful to studio versions, a lot, but Clapton is doing that on this album, and I respect him for that. I think it's a great version. And you're talking about the Strat tone that he has, Brad, where everything is clean, turned up loud. You can hear, on some of these tracks moving forward, you can hear the amps fizzing, It's incredible. I've given this a Brad score. I love all versions of this song.
Yeah.
And forgive me for God for skipping this track 50 million times over in my lifetime.
Yeah.
Brad score and a skip.
You must have been reading my notes, Andrew, because this is one of the ones I did skip a lot back in the day. I don't know, never really connected with me when I was a younger guy. I guess as you get older, you start to appreciate things differently, and I really appreciate this song. We know the backstory as well, but the the vocal on this is something that I've always loved Clapton, the way he sings this song. He's got just that rough, laid-back vocal. And, you know, despite everything else that's wonderful about it, I think the vocal really sets the mood for the song. It's wonderfully restrained. And on this performance, it's very restrained as well. I think, you know, I've spoken about it. You just spoke about it, Andrew. The tone, the Strat tone. There's a little bit. It's very clean, but there's a slight bit more breakup on this one, just to get that little bit of more push. You know, his melodic phrases with the guitar, and you know when he's soloing, he's kind of mirroring a vocal melody, but straying like he's talking, like he's telling a story through the guitar. And he plays some wonderful bends in this. You know, it's a classic example I've written here of Clapton's philosophy: play what the song needs, not what the punters expect him to play. He's a guitarist that wants to complement the song, and he demonstrates that extremely well on all versions of this, but this one in particular. And the band are right on it as well. I've got to give them credit. The band are right on it. They know exactly what to play. And like you said, Andrew, it's pretty close to the recorded version. Like it's got they've stayed pretty true to that. I gave it 100 out of 10, guys, and never skip. It's one of my favorite Clapton songs as well. Yeah. Simon.
Yeah, I mean it's a classic, isn't it? It's a classic, and I think he does it real justice on this version. It's a, you know, as I think Jim said, nice organ playing around the guitar stuff from Albert. That really kind of fills it in and kind of gives it. And I think he plays it really well. I think it's still comparatively new, clearly, as a song. So, but this is the sort of thing I think you could easily slip into sort of you know, the kind of going through the motions of it a bit if you weren't feeling it. But I think he definitely is here. You know, it's a gentle, kind of relaxed version of it, really. It's you know, it's not fired up, lovely, soulful, bluesy solo to it, and cool singing. You know, I think it's Eric's, you know, singing, vulnerable, with feeling. You know, it's definitely. So 9.5 out of 10 from me, and never a skip.
Awesome. Thank you, Simon. So Jackson's asking, is Clapton still touring? Yes, he is.
Yeah.
And he's just released some tour dates. He starts touring next month, or if it's not next month, it's the month after. So, you know, he's still on the road, guys. Still going for it.
God bless.
Simon, sorry, Brad.
Yeah, God bless him.
Oh, yeah, 100%. 100%. Simon, can you tell me when you think I should be throwing up some picks, please? I'm going to leave you.
Oh, yes. This is the end of side. We'll do the end of side 2.
Okay, thank you.
Another awesome. 3 songs, yeah.
No problem. Helene's just popped in to say hello. So we have to say hello, Helene, back before we start the next track.
Good morning. Hope you're well. Lovely to see you.
Well done. Happy to see you, Helene. So the next track is If I Don't Be There in the Morning. Cool track, guys, off the Backless album. A song written by Bob, and if I remember rightly, who sang the song originally with Eric on?
What, Marcy Levy? Was it Marcy Levy?
Yeah, must have been. Yeah, must have been. But you know, guys, I like this track. It's a nice groove. Apparently, the guitar solo, Brad, is by Albert, according to my information. Am I right there?
I think so.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Okay. And again, I just want to sort of give you guys again a little bit of an idea of, you know, what some of the critics were writing about this time. Mark Roberty in particular made a comment that Eric gave far too much time when he was playing live to members of his band, and that was a criticism from Mark's perspective. And again, I find that quite interesting, because this is Eric Clapton, Brad being the band leader. He'd been leading the band now solidly for pretty close to 9-8 years. And he was being a responsible band leader by giving, the people that were playing with him an opportunity to take a bit of the limelight. And I don't see that as a criticism. And, it's good to see that Albert's taking some of the limelight here on this track. It's a cool track. I've given it 9 out of 10. Probably ranked it a little bit higher than what I should do, Simon, but forgive me because I am a Clapton nut. I'll leave it at that. I'll let you guys. Brad.
If I don't be there by morning, I think it's a wonderful song. The groove sits like it's got a little bit of a country shuffle, blues shuffle to it. It's got a bit of a mix there, and Albert Lee sort of lends himself quite favorably to this sort of feel, I believe. I'm going to just sort of talk about that, Andrew. I think Clapton used to give a little bit of limelight to his other band members, because he respected them, and B, because in the world of touring, having that little opportunity to take a break, like where you're just supporting someone else being the highlight, can also give Clapton that rest he needs, maybe for the next song, or maybe, you know what I mean? So there's always two ways to look at it. I think giving another band member a bit of limelight is respecting them, showing what the ability they've got and why they're in Clapton's band, for starters. And secondly, it gives him that little opportunity to have a breathing space where the pressure's not on him and the spotlight's on someone else for that moment, which, every musician does that now. One of the recent gigs I went to, a solo artist, Lenny Kravitz, and he leaves a lot of limelight for the rest of his band, including Craig Ross, whom he sees as his main collaborator and brother in arms, so to speak. So he gives him just as much limelight, and I think that's an honourable thing for a solo artist to do. Give them the credit where credit's due. So I think, screw that. If anyone wants to knock it, well, tough it is, because I think it's a great thing. Back to the song. The groove sits really well. I think Albert Lee's playing. He's got a lot of colour. He adds that country sort of solo style. He's got a little bit more of a different style to Clapton, and they lend themselves really well. They work well together. The groove is very relaxed, and it allows the guitars and the other instruments to really breathe. But I gave it, Andrew and Simon, an 8 out of 10, and never a skip. Simon.
Yes, I completely agree with what you said. I think that why would you have Albert Lee in your band? I mean, Albert Lee's a fantastic guitar player. Everyone who's heard his song "Country Boy" will know how good he is, and and how how modest he is as well. He's not, So I think that he's completely right that if you're going to have Albert Lee or indeed Doyle Bramwell, that they get a chance to stretch out and play some of their, show what they can do, because it's you're not. I don't think of Albert Lee as a lesser guitar player to Eric Clapton. It's different. As you say, Brad, those lovely melodic country runs that Albert does that Eric doesn't do at all. I think the complementary things in the completely, and I think that that it's right that he gets a chance to shine. Now, when I saw him, they actually did Country Boy, which is Albert's sort of his signature tune, if you like.
Yeah.
It's with head, hands, and feet, but it's a I think it's a Bob Dylan song, so it always having that as a great story in the song. That being followed by Private Eye and all sorts of other things in typical Bob stuff. So nice 2-chord vamp, really, just a brisk tempo, keeping it up. As I've said, really nice solo from Albert Lee, and some nice piano work from Chris Staten as well. It's Bob, his Bobness, so 9 out of 10 and never a skip from me.
Awesome.
Andrew.
Thank you, guys. So we're up to Worried Life Blues. Wow, this is an incredible track from my perspective. This is where, we've got the radio songs, Brad, we've got the good stuff, the hand clapping stuff, and bang, now we're into the, the meat of the sandwich, Simon, the blues. And boy, you're not disappointed. The intro is just incredible. It's a fantastic intro. And again, I'm not disappointed at all by this rhythm section at all on this track. I think it's fantastic. And Eric just sings so great. This track has been included on a couple of other compilations. The blues compilation, the 40-odd blues compilation track that came out a few years ago. It's just an incredible version of a song, that means so much to Eric Clapton when he was a young boy growing up as well, So I've given this 10 out of 10, guys, and never a skip. Brad?
Worried Life Blues. Well, clearly he loves this song. His vocal delivery is fantastic. He's leans on this song quite a bit through his career. And the band plays marvelously well. There's some wonderful bass playing, the soloing in turns, like them taking turns. Back and when Clapton solos, they support Clapton really well, letting the guitar, be front and center where it belongs. Clapton's soloing here he's got a strong influence here from B.B. King and Freddie King. You can hear it there in the wide vibratos and the expressive bends. The short melodic phrases. I think it's one of the album's deep blues moments, and it's away from the radio-friendly stuff like you mentioned, Andrew. And, I think it's fantastic, and the band plays so well. Clapton sings well. 10 out of 10, guys. Never a skip. Simon?
Yeah, here we are, back to the heartland of what Eric does. And as you said, he still does this now, doesn't he? Worried Life Blues. So it's kind of, it's been one of those songs that is a thread through his entire career. And he gets a chance to really stretch out on this because Albert's playing organ, so it's just Eric on guitar. And he, I think he really gets into it, doesn't he? Really gets into the soul of it. It's great singing. I think, that he's in good voice, Eric. Some really nice call and response stuff with him and his guitar. Just steady organ. It's interesting, isn't it, that and I don't mean this as it's not a slight, that I wrote down a lot that the rhythm section is just very kind of rock solid, steady. They're not kind of flash, but they hold it all down, provide a real platform for Eric to do what he does. And I think they do it really well. Yeah. On this track, on all the other tracks too, but nevertheless, it's as ever with these, and I think we're still in the period of Eric sort of, being influenced by the band and things, and and some of it wanted to be in the band. So, you get a piano, you get a double round of the piano solo from Chris Staten before you get Eric. And then you've got Eric's the last 3 minutes of it, just, with his beautiful blues soloing that he does, in that pristine Strat sound. Quite restrained. He's not completely letting fly, but it's all about the feel. It's all about, what you're playing, not how fast you're playing. So I think this is a great version of this, and 10 out of 10 for me, and never a skip. One of the centerpieces of this, you know, and a central theme of Eric's gigging life. Andrew.
Thanks, man. Aren't we all, Helene? Aren't we all suckers for the blues? Appreciate it. KXM Rocks made an interesting comment about Albert Lee getting his Music Man signature series guitar. Before that, he was famous for playing Telecasters. So go and check out that unusual shape that he's got. But he was one of the first, Brad, one of the first guys to get a signature guitar. So well done. And Tony's made one question here, and I don't think it's a contentious question whether or not Albert is a rock guitarist together with being a country guitarist. In my opinion, he's more country than rock. And I think if there was one of the reasons why this band was ceased to continue, that may have been one of the factors, Brad. Not the factor, but may have been one of the factors.
Yeah.
And they all overlap, don't they? I mean, you know, all those, you know, the guitar players like Scotty Moore and stuff like that did that very kind of country picking sort of stuff. And so I think it all overlaps. So, but I know what you mean. I think of him more as a country guitar player than a rock and roll guitar player. But
and that's not a criticism. It's not a criticism.
No.
Yeah. So the next track, boys, that we're doing is All Our Past Lives. And I always loved this version. We've ranked the album that this album was originally released on, No Reason to Cry, guys. And again, this is where Albert backs up Eric on vocals. On the recorded version, it's Rick Danko, Simon, if I remember rightly, that did that incredible job. But I always loved this track, you know, mild radio hit, I think, for a while. Incredible solo on this. You can't skip it, can't fault it, Brad. But I'm still giving it a 9 out of 10. Not quite close to the studio version, but that's okay. But, you know, Albert's vocals on this with Eric, pretty good. Brad.
Yeah, All Our Past Times. A relaxed sort of mid-tempo groove there. The chord progression is a little bit more a sassy flavour, in my opinion, than a straight blues or anything like that. Clapton sings fantastic on this. The band are obviously on fire. Some great vocals there from Albert Lee as well. I noted here the bass playing is fantastic on this song.
Sure.
This solo is a little more in your face, and you can hear when Albert Lee takes over with that country bluesy sort of vibe that he got going on there as well, without sort of, you know, repeating a lot of what you already said, Andrew, because I think you've copied my notes here and there. I've given it an 8 out of 10, guys, and never a skip. Previously, I will note I used to skip this song.
Yeah, I think that's a fair score, bro.
Yeah. Simon.
I think that the interesting part for me is that you've got two sides of Eric, haven't you? You've got like the song side and you've got the blues side.
Sure.
You know, and we've just had Worry Life Blues, you know, which is he's on this album the first foray into the, you know, what I would call sort of deep blues. Yeah. And then we go back to All Our Past Lives, which is more of a song-based thing. That you know, and as you said, Andrew, you know, made with Rick Danko from the band, very much in that sort of in that vein. Nice piano. Piano is the main accompaniment instrument on this. As you said, nice high backing vocals from Albert. That's really good. Great melody. You know, we're all about, you know, melodies, and this is a great melody. Nice little solo. Melodic feel, and some nice, you know, bass and drums, but holding it down. And Eric in really great voice. I said it a few times, but I think it's worth saying that, you know, on these songs he sings them really well. Seems to have some confidence about his vocal delivery, and so really good. 8 out of 10 from me. Never a skip though. Really good. Andrew.
Awesome. Alan has given that 8 out of 10 too, guys. So next track is a famous track. You know, the Rock Professors made reference to JJ Cale a couple of times already, you know, on the show. And this is certainly the first time that a lot of people, because it was on his first solo album, Brad, you know, this track. And, you know, I remember guys hearing this, you know, that version and, you know, a couple of other versions which were faithful to the original version a few times. And when I finally got this album and listened to this version of After Midnight, holy cow. It's like, this is like a Formula One version, Brad. It's just, it's 4 times the speed of the original version, which is a pretty fast kind of song, you know.
Yeah.
And for a long time I didn't like it, you know, because I had the original version. Excuse me, guys, I've got a bit of a frog in my throat. Hold on, let me cough.
Cough
I didn't
button.
like the yeah. I didn't like this version for a long time because that other version had been etched into my mind, and sort of grew to appreciate it over time. And looking back, I'm going to say, you know, it's okay. It's cool. I still kind of prefer the versions that are more faithful to the original. Please don't shoot me, guys. You know, you know, I think the track is great as far as an interpretation of a song goes, you know, which is what you want to hear sometimes, because you're being given, Brad, a presentation of a lot of tracks that are faithful to the originals, and now you're getting, you know, a pretty famous Clapton song which is nowhere near faithful to the original. So, you know, he's keeping the audience guessing. So, you know, that's Clapton, you know, but I'm still going to give it 9 out of 10. I think it illustrates actually how good that band is to be playing this song without any mistakes. And they sound great, don't they? You know, it's a great version, you know, of musicians. But, you know, I'm sort of got that original imprinted in my mind. So forgive me for that. Brad.
No problem, Andrew. I look, After Midnight, I mean, he obviously, you know, really has a bit of a fondness towards JJ Cale throughout
Made
his
a
career.
million.
Yeah. And, you know, this is a great energetic sort of version of the song. It highlights the band, you know, at their best. They're pushing the track. The drummer's pushing the tempo, but keeping that shuffle feel very strong. Like he's not losing that. And the groove is there. The rhythm section, you know, they're driving this harder than the original, I guess, and that they're really pushing that tempo. Guitar work there. I mean, Clapton's playing more rhythmic sort of blues bass. You know, forgive me if I'm not correct here, but I can hear a wah-wah sort of get engaged there for a little bit during the solo, a wah pedal. And, you know, it's a good strat tone as well, and a great vocal delivery from Eric. And it's not my favorite version of this song, but you know, we don't judge this version based on other versions or whatever. Well, I don't, and I still think it's worth a 9 out of 10, guys, and never a skip. Simon.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Because the original and his original have that JJ Cale groove, and you kind of, you know, and it does have a particular Tulsa groove that and this clearly doesn't. This is, you know, twice as fast as that, and I think that, you know, it's Dr. Point for going too fast slightly.
Yeah.
Not really. It's fine. I think it's fine as a version. It's got, you know, it's very energetic. It's got great singing again, nice piano. I too think there's a wah-wah in there, Brad, as well. I'm glad you said that, as I'm always like, is that a wah-wah? It's a stupid idiot. So it is, and it's a couple of neat solos from me. I myself, I prefer the slower version because it's got a swing to it that I really like, and I've really locked into that. I can remember getting Naturally way before this in the mid 70s, when I suppose, and with this on it, and having that's the first version I came across was the JJ Cale version of it. but a 9 out of 10 and never a skip. It's not quite a 10 though.
Yeah,
Andrew.
Yeah, fantastic, guys. Thanks for that. And we've got some great comments in the chat. Jim's saying, yeah, he's found his wah pedal. But don't worry, the wah's coming out. He finds the wah later on.
Pictures, Dr. Walton.
Oh, yeah. Oh, cool. So just bear with me, boys. I'll pull them up. Where are we? Gosh, here we go. So there's the famous cover. Levi jeans, cowboy boots, and Blackie.
Yeah.
And a waistcoat.
Oh, you can't forget
the waistcoat. That's a classic 1970s garb. Is the waistcoat.
That's the sleeve opened up, and I got a message from Derek, who can't join us today. Derek Clapton.
Morning, Derek.
He flicked me a photo here. He's got a signed version of the album from Eric.
Wow, that's cool.
He took a photo there. So I told him that I'd mention him. So he's got family visiting, but he definitely watches our videos. He's one guy that makes pinpoint comments to our content during the show. So Derek, going to do a shout out to you. Thank you for that.
Yeah, we appreciate it, Derek. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Derek. It's fantastic.
So there's Derek and Layla in 79. So this is right on when Eric's recording this album.
Mm-hmm. So that's his muse for Wonderful Tonight.
You got it, brother. You got it. There he is. They're playing Blackie. Again, this is from 79.
Very cool.
There's Clapton and Albert from 79. Big smile.
Fresh-faced.
Yeah.
You got it. Yeah, exactly. Here's a pic that I found of Muddy and Eric, again from 79.
Very cool.
We like to sort of, stick to the era. And this is Derek, also known as Eric Clean Shaven from 79. So
wow.
You don't see a lot of pics of him clean shaven, do you?
Nope. No, not from that era.
He's
Eric with his dog. Excellent.
And his dog.
You always got to have a photo with the dog.
You got it.
You've got to have a channel dog, haven't you? See, all the best channels have channel dogs. That's in the rules.
This is the cover of the Japanese program from that tour. And the last shot here is, so this is from 79. This is in the Philippines. So this is the same. So he's using those Marshalls. He's using those Music Man HD 130s, Brad. So turned up to 10.
Wow. That'd be loud.
Ooh. Yeah.
My ears are ringing just thinking about it.
Don't worry, Brad. They're down by his knees. He can't hear half of it.
What? What was that?
Yeah. Pardon? What? Sorry. What?
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. Just quickly at work, people will talk to me and they'll sort of mumble or something. I'm like, what was that? And they go, can't you hear what I'm saying? I go, mate, I stand in front of 100-watt Marshalls on the weekends. Yeah, what do you want from me?
Good man.
Have 5 days to give the ears a rest.
Yeah. Well done. Yeah. I agree with you, Tony. Clapton always looks cool.
Yeah.
He's 100%. He always looks, even when he's off his face, he looks cool. So we're doing Double Trouble?
Double Trouble. Otis Rush. Come on.
Yeah. Wow. Again, blues, guys. Helene made the comment that we're all suckers for the blues. I am unashamedly, and I have to agree with lots and lots and lots of people around the globe who believes that Eric is, in his element, Brad, and he says it himself. So we have to take him at his word, but certainly we can get that presented back to us in the music. Double Trouble. This version is incredible. I adore this song. Eric's vocals and that guitar solo is just a standout track for me. The guitar solo on this is just brilliant. And, we talk about Eric's guitar solos throughout the eras. This is probably a good indicator for people, for us to say, well, go and check out Double Trouble from, the late 1970s for a good indication of how good, when people are saying, I only liked Clapton when he was in Cream. Oh, after 68, he sucked.
Sound like a Van Halen fan.
Mate, I meet those people. I know those people. Yeah.
Well, they are, of course, quite right. After 68, he did so.
But if you go and say, well, this is one track that, because we like to give you pointers if you get stuck, if you meet someone like this, write this down somewhere. We'll go and check out Double Trouble on just one night and come back to me. And then we'll have the conversation. But clearly you don't know what the hell you're talking about. Because this track has it all. It's on fire. I'm giving this a Brad score. I think it's incredible. If you haven't checked it out, please do. You don't know what you're missing. It's got everything that we love as Clapton fans, and the band, Brad. The band collectively are tight on this track. Brad.
Oh yeah. Double Trouble. I mean, you pretty much said everything I need to say, Andrew. But it's one of the most emotionally sort of powerful blues performances on the album, in my opinion.
Yep.
The band's so dynamic. They're keeping it really extremely lush. I'll put that there. Great vocals from Eric. And it's an amazing version. It's a masterclass in slow blues expression. There's lots of sustained bends, wide vibratos, and dramatic pauses in his soloing. And the musicianship in the band, they know when to, give it all, like in After Midnight, and then in this song they know how to hold back dynamically and give it that lush blues treatment. I too gave it 100 out of 10, Andrew. I'm not copying you. You've copied my notes. And it's never a skip, Simon.
Yeah, just Morty's Diner said he never said that, except he did earlier. It's not as good as Cream. Hoisted by Robitard, Morty.
We have excellent. A bit of. We have a bit of fun here, Mort, so it's all good. But might be a little bit of truth in what we say. After all, we're on a mission from God here, so
yes, we've never contradicted ourselves at all, ever, have we?
No.
Me? Oh dear, fantastic. So, yes. What can I say? Minor blues in 6/8 time. Come on, kids. What could be better than that? It's fantastic. Again, Eric in great voice, nice organ. Eric solos are just great, aren't they? Just bluesy, loads of feel. Doing what he does, and he's able to stretch out. It's nearly 8.5 minute song. It's fantastic. And even some pinched harmonics. Come on.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah, for all you Van Halen fans out there, a few pinched harmonics.
He's squanking.
He's doing
squanking.
The squank.
Yeah. That's Mike Brofield. Morning, Mike.
Hey,
How
Mike.
are you?
Oh,
Mike,
wow.
what is going on?
Well done. Good to see Mike. If you haven't already checked out Mike's channel, folks, please do. He's a legend. Mike is a Clapton legend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He does great tutorials and all sorts of stuff, don't you, Mike? So, yeah. Oh, look, Mr. Clapton. Morning, Derek. Hope you're good.
I just filled the boys in with the reason why you weren't here. So thanks for jumping in. We'll catch you later.
And thanks for the pic. Thanks for the picture as well. The signed. That's really good.
Thanks, Derek.
So yeah, really nice. Lots of solos. If you want to hear Eric stretching out in his element, this is the song. Brad score 100 out of 10 from me as well. Fantastic. Love it. Andrew.
Yeah, I just wanted to sort of pass on because, again, Tony, who knows exactly what he's talking about, we've got some good Clapton fans in here who know, Jim, we're all Clapton fans here, but, I'm just going to do a bit of a shout out to Jim and Tony in particular on this comment here. People who say that Clapton after 68, we're finished. Really, you can't take them seriously. You can't really, can you, Brad?
No, they're usually big Van Halen nuts too. You guys know what I mean.
Well, I was talking to the
nuts is the right word.
Not that I have anything against them, but I'm just joking. I love Van Halen.
Hold on, because we're going to be talking about Van Halen at the end of the show, folks. So hold on, we got more on Van Halen.
Anyway, look, I've got a Frankie there.
Oh my Lord! So what are we up to, boys? Setting me up.
Setting me up.
Yeah, what an interesting song. I'm sure I skipped this song a few times, guys. When I had the album, I'm sure I skipped it a few times. Didn't pay much attention to it. Later on, realised and found out that it was Mark Knopfler from the Dire Straits. It was one of his songs. Sort of probably gave it a little bit of attention. Albert's vocals are okay. It's a great song. Brad, you mentioned it before when we were talking about it. This is Eric Clapton giving his sideman a bit of the limelight so we can go and have an orange juice or a cigarette, something to keep him going for the next couple of songs coming up. But, there's always a reason why, these guys and girls get an opportunity to, because, for a long time, a couple of years before this album, it was Yvonne Elliman that used to get a couple of songs, when they were playing live. So, Eric has a history of giving vocal spots to his band members. So, remember that, folks. It's nothing new. Look, it's a great song. It's an album filler for me. I'll be interested to hear what you guys have to say about it. I'm giving it a solid 8 out of 10, Brad.
Yeah. I feel the same way about it. Setting me up. I mean, it definitely was. I know, Simon, you're probably going to time me out. I probably used to skip this back in the day when I first got into the record. Wasn't something that I was searching for when I was, a searching Clapton nut. Obviously, now that I am one and I'm sort of settled, so I'm setting me up for, ridicule for skipping it. Some great soloing. It's got a loose shuffle groove, which is very cool. Albert Lee, I mean, he sings great on it, and there's a bit of interaction between Clapton and Albert Lee there. Clapton's not resting off stage; he's still on stage, no. He's still there, but he's giving the limelight to Albert, which is, as we said, for me, it's 8 out of 10, guys. I never skip. Simon,
fair score.
Yeah, no, completely. It's I think Albert does. It's interesting to me. As a similar groove to Lay Down Sally. Yeah, it's that similar vibe to Lay Down Sally. I think it's a good choice for a song. Also, kind of in that sort of choosing contemporary artists to cover kind of thing, because it's a pretty new song from Mark Knopfler. So I think Albert's does great solo. I love Albert solos, those fluid runs that he plays. That nice country vibe. And 8 out of 10 from me, never a skip. But definitely not anything Albert plays on is worth a listen.
Yeah. Andrew.
Awesome. Appreciate it. So there's a good comment there from the Cape Wanderer. Thank you for joining us. And Jim
Good morning, the Cape Wanderer.
8 out of 10 seems fair. That's pretty good. So the next track we're doing is Blues Power. Again, this is off his solo album. Again, we've mentioned this a couple of times when we've discussed this live. A great backstory to this. It was just Eric writing a song after spending some time with Delaney, and Delaney being able to write songs quickly, bottle of red wine and stuff like that. And this is Clapton's go at writing something quickly, Brad, on the go, and his appreciation of the music, which was going to become the manifesto for him moving his whole career forward. So that's one of the reasons why I like the song. I like all versions of Blues Power, because Eric has done, some incredible versions, some real slow versions, Simon as well, on various tours. I think it's incredible. I love the keys. Jim made the comment there about Eric finding the wah pedal, Brad. Well, he certainly found the wah pedal on this, didn't he? He just rips it to shreds. Great interpretation of that song. One of my favorites. I'm giving this a 10 out of 10. Brad.
Blues Power. Well, it's a classic blues jam vehicle, really, isn't it? I mean, a lot of artists have played this one as well as Clapton. Some great piano playing I put here. Here we are, some great wah soloing. The intensity kind of increases without rushing the tempo. The band's playing great. His solo, he builds it pretty well. Some, simple pentatonic sort of stuff, bluesy stuff, and longer runs. And there's more aggressive bends and double stops in his playing here. But yeah, again, the wah solo, I gave it 9 out of 10, guys, and never a skip. Simon.
Yes, it's funny that, isn't it? That to me, whenever I think of this, this is the track. I've been singing this track all week.
Good.
Bet you didn't think. I mean, he comes in really strong, doesn't he? Just for that. Bet you didn't think I knew how to rock and roll. Bang! And with that nice little piano intro with the guard started. But, really drives it along. And absolutely knows how to rock and roll. Does Eric? And here's proof of it if proof were needed. But it's I'm living on a blues power. But that's Eric in a nutshell, isn't it? It's
100%.
Band drives it along really well. Great rock and roll piano from Chris Stainton. Really like it. And Eric solos with the wah wah, and that extended stuff at the end is really great. Another nearly 7.5 minute song, so he gets a real chance to stretch out and feed off the energy of the band. 10 out of 10 from me, never a skip. It's it's got something. That song is a song, and if you coming into it like that, it's always going to be a 10 for me. Andrew.
Yeah, I think we've got to remember too, guys, this is a live album. So these guys are playing these tracks in front of a live audience who are, just gargling it down, gobbling it down, So, and again, that's a great comment from the Cape Wanderer. Jim's given it definitely 10 out of 10. And Ellen, she knows blues. She's given it 10 out of 10 too.
Yes.
So well done. So the next track's, a couple of songs, isn't it? Rambling on My Mind and Have You Ever Loved a Woman? And I remember been really excited to listen to this track, because I was familiar with Rambling from the Beano album, Brad, and Have You Ever Loved a Woman from obviously the Layla album. So both really, really important songs, Simon. And you go and listen to this and you realize how much Eric has grown as a vocalist from the first. This was the last song, wasn't it, on the Beano album? This was the last track they recorded, from when was that?
Yeah.
That's coming up to its 60th anniversary in a couple of months' time. So we're going to do a special show here. So 60 years. Well,
60 years.
Yeah. So Clapton was what, 20 when he first recorded this, and then he's a little bit older in 79, and just a good example of how he's grown as a vocalist. And we love Eric Clapton as a vocalist, don't we? And for me, this is just one of those premium examples. And then he locks onto it, obviously, with Have You Ever Loved a Woman? Love it. I just think the keys, that solo that Eric plays on this these tracks, or this track with Blackie, he just makes that guitar sing. Have You Ever Loved Another Woman? My gosh, I love all versions of that song, and we know what that song means to Clapton, and he
and George Harrison.
Yeah. Well, that's right. And if you ever had a broken heart, you probably understand it too. Gosh, I just think this is incredible. I was going to give this a 10 out of 10 until this morning. I'm giving this a Brad score. I just think it's incredible.
Yeah, rambling on my mind.
Brad.
Clapton transforms like that blues into like an electric blues arrangement. It's haunting, the quality. It's restrained playing. There's a lot of space in the arrangement. There's some great piano playing. I put very smooth blues vocal from Clapton. His soloing is awesome. Lots of feel and expression in his blues playing. We know that. Don't need to respond, say that. We already know that. Then that sort of transitioned into Have You Ever Loved a Woman, inserting in there. The way they've done it is smooth as silk. They changed key, and it's amazing. It's just how they did it was, remarkable. Again, a live performance where they just transitioned it into one of Clapton's most important blues songs, like one that he relates to quite heavily. And I do love the key change, the way they did it. It's remarkable. I gave it 10 out of 10, guys. Never skip. Simon.
Well done.
Yeah, it starts off with a classic blues turnaround, isn't it? And then it's got that slow blues, a kind of smoky nightclub feel with Chris Stainton playing some cool piano. Really nice bass and drums, just keeping it down. But as you say, there are 1, 2, 3. I think there are 4 key changes.
So I'm glad
really
you mentioned. I'm glad you mentioned that, Simon, because if you hear Clapton, and I'm glad you mentioned it. So I'm sorry if I'm going to steal your thunder, but
steal it.
Okay. But you can hear Clapton yell out the chord changes to the band. He cut a couple of times. An E. So he's testing that band out. So clearly this is the track where they jam, and they've got to look and listen to what Clapton is saying, Brad, because he's testing them out. So good on you, Simon. Good ears.
I made a note of it. Really good. I mean, it gives it something, doesn't it? A change in the key, that many times, and that transitioned into Have You Ever Loved a Woman is just brilliant. And as I say, nearly 9 minutes. Eric's really stretched it out on this. Changing the key into a solo, change the key into a solo. I mean, I think that's quite difficult to do. You've got to reset your mind. And as I say, you've changed the key and you're coming straight in with a solo on the key change kind of thing. That feels quite hard to me. I think that really that it's Jim says there's an overdub as Dave Marquis hit a bum note on one of the key changes. Well, that's just the one. Well done. So I think a fantastic, and of course, rambling on my mind is, is Robert Johnson, which is one of the keynotes of Eric's whole career. One of the people he draws his main inspiration from, Robert Johnson. So, and Have You Ever Loved a Woman he continues to do. So, fantastic melding of the two tracks together. Brad score, to top class in every way. Andrew.
Awesome.
Thank you, guys. So the Cape Wanderer is saying, Mike Brookfield, love your Clapton breakdowns. You do the tracks we can't find anywhere else. Absolutely. Mike Brookfield is what, and he's been doing that stuff on his channel for a long, long time. We've all discovered Mike in one way or another, years ago on his channel, and he's just got some incredible stuff. He's his own musician as well, does his own music. But I have to say his analysis and his breakdowns of all these Clapton albums through his career is just incredible. Well done, Mike. And it's a pleasure and an honor for us to have you here. Join us and our comments here on our little part of the YouTube world. Thank you.
Thank you.
He's been on the channel, hasn't he, Mike? Have you only been on the channel with you, isn't he? Sure he has.
No, he's just been in the comments. So we haven't aligned anything. Ramon Goose has been on the channel a couple of times.
Come on, yeah.
So and he's going to come on when he finishes making his JTM 45 with period.
Oh yes.
Yeah. So I talk to him regularly. So he's going to come on when he's made that, Brad. So it'll be interesting to see how that JTM 45 sounds with period correct parts, bro.
Yeah. Looking forward to that.
Searching out army surplus stuff. Amazing.
Yeah. Well done.
Fantastic.
So we're listening to Cocaine.
We are. We're up to Cocaine.
So isn't it interesting listening to these 1970s versions of Cocaine before it becomes the huge song, Brad and Simon, that it is now? It's one of those songs. It's like Brown Sugar, isn't, or Jumping Jack Flash, for Clapton. And he's sung it many times, and it's on lots of compilations and bootlegs over the years. So it's really cool to listen to these songs just, for 4 or 5 years after it was released. Is my maths right, Simon?
Yeah. 4 or 5, yeah.
Because it came out on Slow Hand? Yeah. So relatively newish kind of song. But isn't it interesting to hear the crowd jump out of? You can feel the crowd jump out of their seats when the first notes of the song, come through your speakers or your monitors, whether or not they've pushed that up. But you sort of wow, and you can just hear it. And the crowd just love it. They appreciate the song for what it is. It's a rocker. It's one of my favorite versions of, Eric, and you can pick any version, and it's always going to be a great song, isn't it, Brad? He still plays it. He probably played it at the Royal Albert a couple of years ago, didn't he?
Yeah, sure did.
Yeah. Oh, it still plays it. Absolutely, yeah.
Still plays it. Yep.
I just think it's an incredible, the amazing solo that's on this track is just fantastic. I think it's, one of the gems that are out there. But do yourself a favor and go and listen to this version of the song. If you've heard 10 other versions, it's not going to hurt you listening to the other 10 or 15 versions that are out there, Brad. I've given this a Brad score. I just think it's an incredible song.
Yeah, I have to agree. It's another JJ Cale composition, and the guitar tone, he's pushing his amp pretty hard here to get that tone. It's a little bit more of an aggressive Strat tone.
You got it.
Present, so I'm guessing he probably went to the volume and just turned it just that little bit more, probably more than the sound guy probably liked, but he did it. There's a very rhythmic sort of, even the soloing is very rhythmical here. He's locking tightly into that groove, and there's a great feel on the song set by the band. They've done a great job and reinterpretation of it. I think Eric's voice is very smooth and bluesy on this track, always is, and great soloing, and I do enjoy hearing wah wah pedal. I love hearing wah wah. There's plenty of wah in this, and there's a good, it's a great, example of how to use a wah pedal properly, in my opinion. Albert Lee's solo is fantastic too. He does a little solo in this as well, and it's you never skip, guys. It's a 10 out of 10. Never skip, guys. Simon.
Yep.
Definitely not. It's it's interesting. There's that really fuzzy kind of keyboard sound in the background that's quite interesting. I don't know what it is, but it's kind of, and I just love the fact that the crowd shouting out the title each time it comes round. That makes me smile. That does it. Shouting out cocaine as it comes round at the end of the thing. But it's a great version. I love that solo with that kind of, where he goes into that kind of funky kind of rhythm guitar thing, doesn't he? That's really cool. That's really good. And a nice second solo with Albert with his melodic, cool runs.
Yep.
Just brilliant. And again, he goes back to it at the end, doesn't he? That rhythm exercise at the end with the chorus, just playing that. Great. And he, again, able to stretch out. Interestingly, 2 blues songs sandwiched by a song, and the same on the previous side, where you've got Double Trouble and Blues Power, and you've got Setting Me Up in the middle of those 2 things. So you've got that kind of very much the blues things, but with the song sandwiched in the middle of them. Great version. I think 10 out of 10 from me. Never a skip. Andrew.
I'm not going to read. You guys can read that comment yourself. I'm not going to read what
Tony. See, yes, that makes me laugh.
Last track, boys. Last track.
Last track.
Last one.
And clearly this was the encore track that they had, and you can hear Eric introduce the band, which is always nice. It's good to have a live album end, clearly with this kind of production, and it's a hot version of a really, really cool song. We're familiar with a couple of other great versions. The version that Clapton did on the band's Last Waltz, Simon, is pretty good, where he just about loses his guitar off the strap, and Clapton catches it, and Robbie Robertson brilliantly continues the guitar solo. Brad, isn't that just incredible bit of footage? And we've spoken that about
cocaine.
yeah. Holy cow! There was a room full of it. Well, there was a room with a bowl full of it.
Just got to see Neil Young, God,
on his nose.
Yeah, just that sort of staring eyes and the grinning.
Yeah. And Neil Diamond, apparently before he came, he didn't have sunglasses, and then when he comes out to see, he's got his sunglasses on. Anyway, Yeah, rumors.
Sorry.
Rumors.
Sorry.
Gossiping. Look, I like this version, guys, of further down the road, but I got to tell you, the version on EC Was Here is probably the definitive version for me, Brad. It's a good, solid version. I'm going to give this 8 out of 10. And I'm going to pass it on to you guys, Brad.
Yeah, look, it's a great song. Further on up the road, it's got an energetic feel the way they've done it. It's definitely a big blues jam closing the concert. Opportunity knocks for everyone in the band. You know what I mean? It's a great piano playing, soloing. The rhythm section work is outstanding. Clapton's solo. I'm hearing a lot of Freddie King in his playing, in his soloing in this. There's a lot of aggressive bends, and he's playing. Albert Lee's solo, he's introduced some lightning fast sort of country runish stuff, contrasting obviously with Clapton's blues phrasing. Overall, it's not my favorite version of this song, but it's a great performance nevertheless, and I gave it 9 out of 10 and never a skip. Simon.
Yep.
Yeah, agreed. I think it's a great version. I like. You don't really hear it, even on headphones, you can't really hear it, but he does introduce the band, doesn't he, at the beginning? Not that you'd actually know, because he seems to do the entire thing off mic, but we get it, Eric, it's fine. Again, lots of nice call and response stuff that Eric plays with it. Great swinging groove that the band bring it, and everyone takes a solo, don't they? Albert takes a solo, Eric takes a solo, Chris Danger takes a solo. The three main musical protagonists all take solos with it as the ender. That's what you'd expect, wouldn't you? It's and the way that they sort of pick it up and take it down again for various sections as well, I think that gives it a bit of extra dynamic. And yeah, I think I agree. It's probably not the best version of it, but it's still a 9 out of 10 and never a skip. I would never skip it. Absolutely. So, yeah, Andrew.
That's it.
That's us. That's the album.
We did it.
We did it. We did it in 2 hours, boys. Had a lot of fun. Obviously, and there's been some great comments here by everybody. Kate Wanderer, especially, new jumping in. EC doing his Freddie King and version on further up the road. So yeah, well done. So appreciate the fact that you guys could join us, because we always like talking about Eric Clapton in particular on this channel, because he means so much to us, and he's representative of this music, that we talk about, Brad and Simon. So thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah.
I've got some news to tell you. So we're not going to be on doing the ranking next week. The Rock Professors going to be getting some treatment on his.
I'm having another MRI scan. It's very exciting. But it's happening at sort of 9 o'clock on a Sunday morning, so the NHS never sleeps.
Good. Yeah. So we won't be doing a show same time, same place. We'll be doing a show earlier. If you want to join us, hit that notification button. We're going to be doing a Van Halen show. So Brad, I'll flick you a link if you can join us. It'll be earlier in the day. We're going to have John on, Jim, and Les Paul on. We're going to be talking about the 5150 album, which celebrates its anniversary, I think, in March sometime, doesn't it? Yeah, when it came out in 1986. So how many years ago was that? 40 years ago?
Too many.
Don't. Yeah, 40 years ago. Everything's 40 years ago.
So yes. So we'll be doing that on the channel. And we wish the Rock Professor well for his scan.
All the best, Simon.
More bolts.
More bolts. So who's got the album pick for the week after?
Me.
Okay, so the Rock Professor will give us something, and we'll put a show card up so you guys have at least a couple of weeks to do your research on something. So we'll get something up within the next couple of weeks. Promise.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Brad.
Yeah.
Quickly, your opinion of this album after ranking it and talking about it before I get the Rock Professor to give us his interpretation or understanding of it.
Yeah, I think it's a mandatory listen for anyone who's a Clapton fan and not a Clapton fan. But my takeaway from it is it's just a good, timestamp of where Clapton was at this present point in time. His performance, it's captured here. It's a good representation of where he was. So yeah, it's definitely worth a listen. When you compare it to other live albums he's done, it's good to hear where he's at that particular time. So I've thoroughly enjoyed it, Andrew, and thank you for picking it.
No problem. Simon.
Yeah, me too. It's, as I say, it's where I sort of came in with Eric and got the album and really I think it's almost kind of looking back at it like a full stop before he goes into his 80s period, which is, with the Soldanos and the other completely different sounds and a completely different thing going on there. So this feels like a bit of a sort of, end point, not the beginning of something in a way, although, he's continued to do a lot of these songs up to the present day. And, you move on 10 years when he's doing 24 nights and things, and a lot of this stuff is done alongside the 80s stuff. So but it still feels like that a bit to me, a bit like a sort of end of the 70s kind of thing. And but great album, really. I really like it as an album. As I say, I've had it for 45 years, so must be good.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I think it's a time stamp too of how Clapton sounded really, really good live, and it's good ammunition to use against, like I said to you guys before, against the Clapton critics who say that, he didn't sound good at all live in the 70s. But definitely feels to me, after listening to it in preparation for the show, an end mark to that era. Definitely, it feels like it. And I just want to make one little comment before we go. So if you go and look at Eric Clapton on the cover of this and go and check out, say, Behind the Sun, 4 or 5 years later, 6 years later, Eric actually looks younger, than he did in 1979, because he's trying to lead a bit of a healthier lifestyle. But go and check out the videos, say, of him and singing Forever Man. He looks really good. He looks, so he handles age well. That was one thing that became clear to me during the course of this week. I look at things like that because I'm in love with Eric Clapton. I just look at
Yeah.
I just think it's cool.
Yeah, it's very cool.
It's cool.
Are we out of here, boys?
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Have a great week, everyone. Take care. Great to see you. Thanks for all your fantastic comments. I'll see you in 2 weeks.
Before I fade away into the darkness that's becoming.
All right. We'll see you on the Van Halen show.
Take care, everyone. Take it away, boss.